Since the end of Battle for Azeroth, we have been recording and documenting and making a spreadsheet for all of our runs. We have a spreadsheet for all the disbands, and we've been listing reasons for all of those disbands. It initially started as a way to see like any frequent flyers or common problems that were arising in the dungeons to potentially educate people, and then it turned into more of a humor thing, more of a funny thing. This expansion, though, there hasn't really been that many humorous moments that have come directly from like the hierarchies that I've been doing. There's been more like absurd moments that I feel like I have to document just so other people could see and maybe potentially learn from. But even really, those haven't really occurred that much this season. It's been pretty calm. It makes the ones that are truly absurd way worse because of how easy some of the timers are. We've been talking a lot about this topic over the last few weeks, but there's still that creeping mentality out there that you just can't seem to shake. Now, I've been documenting these runs for something like 8 seasons now, and these are 3 of the worst runs I have ever had to type into the disband spreadsheet. We have 3 clips from 3 runs in a row. This is from Friday's stream. If you did not see this, buckle up. This is insane, and we have a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it. How was your runs today? Pretty normal. I played Dune Hunter in 28s and DK in 26, and DK and Dune Hunter really outshines with utility. But tankiness wise, they're both great. Nice. DK feels... What? The fuck are you doing? This is absolutely the worst one of the 3 in my opinion. If you can't tell what happened, this guy leaves because he thinks 5 minutes and 30 seconds is not enough to finish this NPC, then all the stuff that it spawns, then Invispot, then kill those 2 mobs and the boss. I have ran this dungeon a bunch this week, and at a first glance, I will say this is actually an upgrade here. Obviously, we don't know for sure. I don't really care, honestly. This has nothing really to do with why we're talking about it today. We're talking about it today because there's this weird culture of people out there now who would rather leave than actually try to succeed. Whether or not you think this is an upgrade, this is definitely close. Like, you're not going to say this is not close to being an upgrade. And this guy actually just would rather leave than try, and I really don't understand it. He goes on to say that he believes that the trash that we would then fight after Invispotting is going to take 1.5 minutes, and then the boss would take 4.5 minutes. I have no idea where he's getting that information, but that is just incorrect. Like, we actually can prove that. I'm going to show you this right now. This was earlier in the week. We actually finished this dungeon, and this is pretty much the exact same moment in the key. We are a minute and a half slower in this key. Pay attention to that number. You're going to need to see it again. So when you kill that mob, it does spawn some enemies, which do add a few seconds to the run. These guys are kind of getting confused. The reason that this run has gone poorly this week is actually this skip. I do not love it. People are saying that we can skip the first pack instead, and I actually should probably give that a try, but I am very worried because if somebody dies in this gauntlet, then that means they will not be able to get back, and that will ultimately be the key ending as well. So here's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be shrouding here. Could run to the right here, skip all of these mobs. You can do this with Invispot or Shroud or really any stealth at all. Just be aware that if everybody does not get here at the same time, this is extremely difficult and very dangerous because these mobs will then potentially kill somebody. Now, I made a huge mistake here. I was sitting here waiting for the stealth to time out because I'm so used to people not getting here at the same time that we need every second of it. But ultimately, I do not aggro the mobs and the priest gets threat and gets meleeed. But you see, we engage this pack at about 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Fast forward a bit, we have the mobs dead here at 2 minutes and 20-ish seconds. I'll just say that's 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Again, that is with a death, but like it's the healer. Like, I don't know how much that really counts, but yes, so less than 1 minute for that pack. 2 minutes left on the boss here. When I pull this boss, I'm like, okay, we're not upgrading this. Like, I'm sure of it, right? I think everybody probably in the group is sure of it, and nobody leaves, right? What a surprise. Now, of course, we don't upgrade this, otherwise we wouldn't be making the video in the first place, but as you see here, the timer runs out, and the boss is actually at 15%, so it's a lot closer than you might think. This final phase starts with negative 26 seconds left in the run, I guess is what you would say, and the run ultimately ends 47 seconds over the timer. So that is 2 minutes and 52 seconds, and that is without Bloodlust, because we actually used it on the previous boss. I have no idea why. I guess the guy thought it was definitely going to be over time, so we just used it, assuming we'd be able to reset it again, but yeah, either way, no Bloodlust there. 2 minutes, 52 seconds. So do you remember that number I told you about back at the beginning of the footage? 47 seconds over timer with with a pretty stupid death again on my part. Now you see what's in the chat there. This is a really funny comment that's made. The guy says, would have timed it if we didn't waste 2 minutes saying GG. Yeah, there's a little bit more to this story. I still do not understand what happened here. Let's see if we can maybe learn from this now. I didn't even really thought to look at this until we started making this video, but this is actually a turning point in this key and ultimately what really cost us the key. So I pull the Ravager here, like seems like it's in the perfect spot, and then all of a sudden that pack aggroes. The only thing I could see is my ghoul jumps, but I really don't know what would have caused that otherwise. Here it comes again, and yeah, the ghoul jumps and I guess gets too close to the pack. That's the only thing. I don't see any spells flying. I don't really know. So this is a full wipe and a 25 fortified. All 5 of us die, and then on the run back, of course, why would this not get said? People start talking about quitting. You got 3 guys. One guy goes, "We GG lol," and then a guy goes, "Yeah, I think so," and then the priest is like, "I don't know, I think so." So if they actually quit there, we would have not seen that we ended up so close to upgrading this key, even with a full wipe on a fortified 25. And that's kind of the big issue here, man, is these people are so quick to want to quit. I just don't really understand what that mentality is coming from. But yeah, so you see the facts of the situation. Clearly, this guy's super wrong about these timers. It was under a minute for the trash. We just did the trash. Obviously, not even close to 4.5 minutes for the last, but I mean, that's just absolutely silly to even say that. It makes me think it's some kind of typo, but it wouldn't be able to really be much of a typo because anything less than what he said would actually not be out of time. There is now so many examples of this on this channel where there looks like it's gonna not be a good run and we end up upgrading it or we end up pulling it out at the very last second. I always think that like people who are in this mentality just never did any type of competitive activity growing up, because I know it's not like technically like a PvP thing here where like somebody else could make a mistake and you could capitalize it and swing it back in your favor, but these things are not like objectively awful. They can still be salvaged and people just don't even want to try. It always makes me think, like, imagine if like a football team was just down like big at the half and they just walked off the field like, all right, see you guys next week. The only reason we play the game is to win the football game and we're gonna lose. Well, you didn't lose yet. You only lost because you quit. That's the only reason this priest did not upgrade this key. This was a run that I was working on all week. Like I said, probably maybe even over 10 runs done this week, and I knew that was our best run. It really feels like it's not upgradable when people are actually just upgrading keys and then leaving them before they finish. So then we calm down. We then do 2 more runs at the end of the stream, and I got to show you those as well, unfortunately. Our smallest key gap is thrown. I'm under you by 1. Must be something to it. Yeah, I've had no success with it then. None at all. Like, that's a great example of the problems we've had in that dungeon. Even when it's going well, people find ways to not continue to allow it to go well. Okay. Pipe into the boss. And that's what should we do? Reset it or something? I've got 22 thrown. I'm avoiding it this week. Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see why. So we actually do wipe to busting there, which is not really something that I expected to happen, but yeah, I guess it's not really that surprising. It is pretty aggressive pulling. A couple weeks ago, people were like kind of bullying me into doing this. I did not have these mobs on the route at the time. And honestly, I think it's a good idea now. Like, I think it is actually, it's very, very hard to survive. I have to work really, really hard to not die there because the flowers actually add a damage taken debuff to me, and the breath already hits really hard. So even on Tyrannical, I can easily die there. I gotta work my ass off for that. But yeah, yeah, you know, these guys are unable to survive. It was like 9 stacks of busting. But the funny part about this, and the reason it's included in this video, is because of the interactions that this demon hunter is now having with me. So if you didn't actually see what happened, like we wipe and then somehow the warlock doesn't die to busting, but then dies to the actual fight afterwards when the healer's dead. So if that guy didn't die there and we just battle rest the healer, yeah, maybe at that point it's worth finishing the boss. The boss was actually at like 90% when I mentally at least decided it was a wipe. I had no idea why anybody would want to keep fighting that boss with 2 DPS dead, but regardless, that's what the guy wants to do. And then this conversation happens. He goes, it would have been faster than wiping and doing it again. Typically, I'm a huge proponent of that. Like, absolutely. If the boss is at like 20%, yeah, if it's a normal boss, especially, like, yeah, let's do it. But I don't have any idea how you could think that. Like, I cannot understand that point at all. Boss is actually at 85% here when we end up having all the DPS dead. So, like, okay, now this is not a normal encounter either. Like, the boss has 145 million health right now. We're supposed to be able to burn him down because of the other phase. If we only have one actual damage dealer and a tank and a healer for that, is going to take a lot longer than your average boss's 85%. So that guy's trying to say that it would be faster to do that. I don't have any other runs to show this. I've never wiped to the first boss before, but I don't think it's gonna be faster than wiping and doing it again. Then it gets a little weird because now he's trying to like retroactively sound right about other things to kind of make it sound like he knows what he's talking about on the first thing. He says, I told you we didn't have mass to spell and you did the pull anyway. Okay, well, unfortunately, if you look back at the footage, you'll see that you waited a little bit too long to tell me that. I have literally already pulled both packs and I'm on my way back when he says we don't have MD for this, by the way. So a little bit too late at that point to make that point. But I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you guys think that if you have 9 stacks of busting coming from 9 flowers, you should automatically die to it and there's no possible way to solve that? This guy's point is like, they basically can't not kill. I said just don't blindly AoE them. Just like, you know, you can just single target one down. Even if you kill 2 or 3, like 6 or so seconds earlier than the other ones, then you just won't die. Like you'll have only 6 or 7 stacks of busting. It won't be a problem. I've watched multiple groups this week do this. I said to the guy, you know, do you want me to just not pull that because mass dispels on cooldown? And he says yes, but I've literally already done it this week without a priest. There's a bunch of videos on the spreadsheet of Everblooms without a priest doing it. Even with monks not having their CD up, it's very, very doable. Is it aggressive? Yes. You guys can debate whether or not you should be doing it, but honestly, I haven't had any issues with it. That's actually first time we've had any real issues with it. But there's a greater point to make here. It's not really about that. This is the problem with tanking. This is why you'll always feel like the tank role is the most stressful role at times, because there's always people out there putting pressure on you. They want you to do something that they've seen done a certain way, but they don't fully understand it and they've never actually tanked, so they can't explain how you need to do it as you, the tank. They only know that somebody else did it for them and, you know, potentially carried them and made life easier for them, so they demand that of you. That's exactly what's happening in this case. This guy is demanding me to do something, saying he like warned me and I shouldn't be doing it, saying there's no way he could not AoE DPS as a Havoc Demon Hunter. There's no possible way all 9 mobs can't die together. There's no possible way we can survive this, even though we have 2 classes that can put tons of absorbs on people. You can just dispel it. Warlock and Demon Hunter, you know, maybe the 2 strongest defensive specs in the game at times. No possible way we could survive this. Definitely have to change the route for it. That one was kind of normal, honestly. That one wasn't really that big of a deal, but the one after this, yeah, we have another crazy one to show you. So let's go ahead and take a look at that too. Why is that mob all the way over there? That's strange. Is that gonna be a problem? I don't know what we need, but we're supposed to need one of these, so I'll just grab it anyway. Yeah, I really wanted to drink coffee. Oh, alright, cool. Or killed 3 people. But anyway, I really wanted to drink coffee. But then I realized I was not cut out for it. Wow, man, what is going on? What the fuck is going on, dude? These keys are just like literally not upgradable. So this is actually really funny to be going over this again because I missed a lot of this at first glance. There's a lot more that I want to show you from this key, but we have to stop and talk about what just happened there. I don't know what that guy was doing. I don't understand the evoker, the idea there, gripping the guy or whatever he's doing there, but he basically kills him, himself, and the healer. I don't know why he would do that. I assume he didn't mean to do that. If you look at the footage and you see that happen, you think, okay, that guy left out of shame. That's what it was. That was not what it was. Watch this. So I was able to whisper to the guy. I asked, why did you leave? That was going to be an upgrade. He goes, no, it wasn't. We didn't have time, lol. The last boss is over 5 minutes. Now, for the first clip of this little series of clips here, that one is definitely an upgrade. Like, I have actual numbers to back it up. This one, I do not. And honestly, I would definitely agree that it's way, way closer than the throne. This one has definitely been an issue for us this week. We've had no success with this mage trash. We've yet to get by the trash. That pack is coming up. Realistically, even if the timer does look good, that trash is probably going to kill somebody. But if it doesn't, we pull the boss, pull the trash onto the boss like we normally do. Yeah, I mean, we got 9 minutes at this point. I think we're probably good. You know what we would have been a lot better with if this guy didn't suicide, kill 2 people. That's the guy who left, by the way. He was trying to defend the fact that he left because we didn't have time. Yeah, we didn't have time because you did that. You also did this earlier. Okay, only 4 deaths through the split. That's really good. Oh. Oh my god. Why? Now just don't reset the fight. Yeah, that was funny. So the mob dies at 15:45. He actually released at 15:50. We then do not get to pull the boss until after 15:20. So that basically added 30 seconds to the run. That guy running back, dying, running back, and then releasing that late. Takes him about 30 plus seconds to get back. If he just released when he actually died, then yeah, it probably wouldn't have been a big issue, but he waits like 15 seconds to actually run back. Again, this is another run that we had done a ton this week, and it is one that I'm very confident coming out of that split. Yeah, boss is going to die pretty much, actually, yeah, like slightly under 12. 12 is the benchmark. If we can see 12 here, I know we are on pace to upgrade it. So there we are. We're pretty much right on pace. The druid then asks for some time, which is not great, but whatever. I say we got extra time here. Let's go ahead and pull this a little bit more conservatively. We pull this pack, then the pyromancer pack on its own, then the arcane pack, and then the key basically disbands. That takes us 2 whole minutes to do those 2 trash packs without the healer. Now the evoker's also AFK right now. Then all we have is the big pack. Like I said, that always causes problems, but realistically, like, this is as good as it's gonna go in my book. There's ways that I could probably improve it, like we talked about, but like, I don't really know what could have gone better in this guy's eyes. He says final boss takes over 5 minutes. So we got 9 minutes at that point. We just showed that 2 packs of that trash took 2 minutes total. So even if the next pack of trash takes a full 2 minutes, that takes us down to 7 minutes available. Then we'll be pulling the trash onto the boss. Say that boss takes 3 minutes plus that trash. That takes us down to 4 minutes available. Well, then yes, at that point, if the boss does take 5 minutes, then we would be out of time. It's all conjecture. We don't know for sure. This is a very, very close key though. All this guy does is, well, basically sabotage the run, first of all, but then all he does after that is just make himself guaranteed to have failure. He goes on to say things like, oh, the only thing that matters is upgrading keys. Well, if that's the case, then you'd be fighting tooth and nail to try to do that, right? If that is literally the only reason you're playing the game, like if you wake up out of bed and you think the timer's the only thing that matters, just let's ignore the fact that it took me 10 runs of Throne to get to that point. I improved on every run. I learned what could go wrong. We altered things. We changed the way we're using CDs. We're changing the way we're pulling. We're getting better every run. This guy actually says he did the same thing for Everbloom. He said he was in Everbloom queues for 4 hours. And that's the result? You release on trash, wasting all this time, and then you grip somebody to their death and then leave? That's the result? Just ignore the fact that it most players actually get better every time they do their run, right? Somehow you're a master at Everbloom 25 Fortify. You've seen everything the dungeon's going to offer. Now you're just waiting for everybody else to get in line. How do you not see this as close? Like, how do you not think like there is some kind of an outside chance here, even if you truly believe that the last boss is 5 minutes? Really, that's what it comes down to, though, man. Just this whole idea of these people like are so sure they're right. I think that's all three clips are unified in that way. The priest, I mean, he was obviously the most wrong, but he was so sure he was right. Like he was guaranteeing that that was over time. And then the second guy was like so sure that he was right and saying things that are just silly. And then the third guy, it's even worse. Like there's something scary about it because they're so sure they're right. They're actually just hurting their own ability to be right. This guy's sure he's right. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's wrong. I really don't care about that. It's not about that. It's about the fact that he's so sure he's right. He's willing to then screw over 4 other people. That guy, obviously, all 3 of these people are robbing themselves of progression. They'll never actually improve like this because they're literally taking, like, even if it's like a 1% chance to win, and they're like, I don't want that chance, I'm leaving. They're doing it, what I've been told, is because their time is so valuable. Like, even as an AUG, even if you get invited to the first key you sign up to, it still takes like at least 5 to 10 minutes for any key to form, start, and put the key in, right? I hate to tell you this, guys, but if you're leaving keys like this, you're not saving yourself time. You're just lying to yourself. You're just being selfish. You're just screwing over other people. But of course, like we said, you're screwing over other people. That's the thing that should be punishable. That's the problem. There's 4 other people. If it's not your key, you should not get to decide that the only thing that matters is upgrading the key. The other 4 people do not matter whatsoever. You're going to leave even an upgrade, like even a key that might be upgraded. Who cares about that? Even if the key's definitely out of time, this is still ultra selfish behavior. It's hurting your own progression. It's making you worse, but it's also making the other people worse. It took me all this time to get to where I'm at with these keys. I know exactly what can go wrong and what can't in these segments. If I didn't get those opportunities to learn that, I would be back at square one. All the mistakes we made at the beginning of the week would still be happening at the end of the week. That's how keys normally go. You normally get better at things. You're just robbing yourself of that, but also the rest of the community. So anybody who like leaves keys like that and is mad about things not happening the way they want them, well, you're just kind of fulfilling that prophecy for yourself, forcing other people to not be able to learn. Now they have to go try it again and never know the results. Hopefully someday something is going to happen here. I really do think the solution of Blizzard should be to incentivize finishing keys even higher than upgrading keys. I think they can do that with a currency that when you finish a key, you get a currency that can somehow augment your key. Maybe they have even more creative ideas, but my original idea was a low amount of currency to re-roll your key, which is now kind of a default feature of the game, but I do think they should remove that and put that now as a feature. A medium amount of the currency to protect your key so you can have opportunities to do the key where it won't downgrade, and then a high amount, maybe a very high amount of the currency to actually upgrade your key 1 level. This would encourage players like that who seemingly only care about progression no matter what at the cost of the other 4 people. It would encourage them to actually finish keys. It would just make everybody better. It would help everybody learn. It would help everybody see the entire dungeon so it doesn't take you 10 runs to see the whole thing and get better at it. Let me know what you guys think. We have an amazing key that's also going to be featured on the channel on Monday. This is something I have never seen before in my life, and it is going to be the perfect endpoint to a discussion that truly started 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Cop sent me a run of a Tal Dazar where they wiped 4 times to Razan and still upgraded it. Now we have a key that is going to capstone that. You will be shocked when you see what I have for you on Monday. Please stay tuned. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please do your part to help the community of Mythic Plus grow better. Please make pugging a better place. This kind of nonsense needs to stop. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.